There's a moment in every marriage when you realize things are shifting. Sometimes it's soft, almost invisible, and sometimes it hits like a slap you never saw coming. For me, it happened on a random Thursday evening over leftover pasta. No warning, no fight. Just my wife sitting across from me, twirling her fork, barely meeting my eyes. "I've been thinking," she said. Those 3 words always mean trouble. I looked up, waiting. "Maybe we should open the marriage." I actually laughed. I thought she was joking. We'd never been that couple. The experimental, adventurous, try everything once type. We were quiet, predictable, married. But her face didn't change. She just nodded slowly, like she'd been practicing the idea in her head for weeks. "I just feel like we're stuck," she said. "We need something new, something exciting." Something exciting. Funny how people use that when they really mean someone else is already in the picture. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just sat there, the taste of cold pasta suddenly turning to sand. She reached for my hand. "If we do this together," she said, "it won't hurt. It'll just be exploration." Exploration. As if marriage was some dull map she'd grown tired of looking at. I couldn't sleep that night. My wife breathed steadily beside me, like she'd found peace after finally saying what she wanted. Meanwhile, my mind kept spinning. Was I not enough? Was our home not enough? Was I boring now? She wanted excitement. She wanted to see what else was out there. Fine, I thought. Let's see what's out there. I didn't jump into anything right away. I wasn't built like that. I didn't want dating apps or one-night strangers. I didn't want something meaningless just to prove a point. But 2 weeks later, life handed me something I wasn't expecting. I ran into Mira, my old yoga trainer. She used to teach a community class every Saturday before her studio shut down. I hadn't seen her in years. She was the same as I remembered. Calm eyes, warm smile, quiet energy. Just seeing her felt like a glass of cold water on a hot day. "Jake," she said, almost laughing. "Wow, it's been forever." We talked for a bit, nothing heavy, just catching up. She told me she'd started teaching private sessions again. I told her I'd been stressed lately. "Come by the studio sometime," she said. "It might help." I didn't plan anything. But the next day, when my wife left the house wearing perfume she usually saved for special nights, I suddenly found myself driving toward Mira's studio. The room smelled like lavender and warm wood. Soft music played in the background. Mira moved with that same effortless grace I remembered. She helped me stretch, corrected my posture, guided my breathing. Not once did she pry or judge or ask anything personal. She just created space, something I hadn't felt in months. At the end of the session, she said, "You seem heavier than the last time I saw you." I could have lied. Instead, I told the truth. My wife wanted an open marriage. She froze for a second. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I agreed," I muttered, more to myself than to her. "Do you want that?" Her question hit harder than it should have. "No," I said quietly, "but I don't think she wants me anymore." Mira sat across from me, legs folded, eyes calm. "Jake," she said gently, "wanting excitement doesn't always mean wanting someone else. Sometimes it means they forgot how to slow down." Maybe she was right. Maybe she wasn't. But in that moment, I didn't care. I just knew that talking to her felt easier than talking to my wife had in months. I booked another session, and another, and another. It wasn't romantic at first. It wasn't flirty. It was just me finding air again. Me finding someone who saw me. Not as a failing husband or a boring routine, but as a human being who was allowed to want peace. Meanwhile, my wife was going out more, coming home late, smelling like cologne that wasn't mine, whispering on her phone in the hallway. She wanted an open marriage. She got one, but she hadn't asked what I wanted. One Saturday, Mira and I finished a session and sat drinking tea on the studio floor. She tucked her hair behind her ear and said, "You look different today. Lighter." I laughed. "Maybe because you torture me less." She smiled at me, the kind of smile that warms you from the inside. And something shifted. Not fast, not dramatic, just real. "Jake," she said quietly, "you deserve someone who chooses you, not someone who tolerates you." That night, when my wife came home at 1 a.m. smelling like someone else's cologne again, something inside me snapped back into place like a bone finally healing. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I didn't ask questions. I simply said, "I'm seeing someone." She froze. "You... what?" "You wanted open," I said. "So I opened." Her face twisted. Shock, anger, disbelief. "Who?" "My old yoga trainer." It was the truth, but it was also the last thing she expected. "You're kidding," she said, nearly laughing. "You and her?" "Yes," I said simply. "She treats me like I matter. My wife stared at me stunned. She wanted excitement, but she never thought I would find it too. Not in someone steady, calm, grounded, someone who didn't chase chaos, someone who brought peace. "You don't love her," she snapped. "I didn't think you loved him," I replied. Silence. She walked away, slamming the bedroom door. The anger wasn't because I had someone. It was because I chose someone who wasn't a fling, someone who made me better, someone I could see a future with. A week later, I packed a bag. I didn't leave out of revenge. I didn't leave to punish her. I left because I finally understood something. An open marriage doesn't fix a closed heart. Mira welcomed me with tea, warm light, and a soft, steady smile. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I had chosen something. Not because I was pushed, not because I was hurt, but because it felt right. My wife wanted an open marriage. She opened the door. I just chose to walk through it, with someone who held my hand on the other side.